Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Wednesday, November 20th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, ready to break down the Wednesday slate. We've got 5 games on tap for Wednesday night, including a doubleheader tonight for TNT with Carolina, Philadelphia, Nashville, Seattle. Your 2 TNT games here on this Wednesday night. Looking forward to that. What more can we say about last night? The betcast for November, another fun, entertaining, just enjoyable betcast with a great group of people, our viewers, our listeners that tune into this show. The Ice Guys family, you're a family. We call you family for a reason. Your support, that's why we bring you guys on the betcast, invite you on the betcast. It's just a lot of fun. You all love hockey. You all love betting hockey. And we put our minds together and we look to profit on the live betcasts like last night. So much fun just chatting it up about everything involving the games taking place. And like I say, I have a few drinks in the process, a lot of laughs and jokes as well. It's always enjoyable. But what makes a betcast like last night even more enjoyable is when the live betting success comes with it. And it was a phenomenal night as far as the live betting component of it, which isn't always going to be the case. You're going to have some tough nights. You're going to have some betcast nights where you're not seeing the board as well, or things just aren't breaking your way or going your way. But last night it started with that first period over 2.5 in the Edmonton-Ottawa game that we took live at plus 170. We jumped on Tampa Bay in the third period when they were down 2-0 against Pittsburgh, and the Lightning came back and they won that game and cashed a bunch of live bets for all of us. And I think everyone on the betcast in the latter part of the night somehow got involved with Calgary when they were down 1-0 against the New York Islanders. And I was already pre-flop involved with Calgary and the draw in that game. And I decided, you know what? It's a live betcast. Let's tack on a little bit more and take Calgary live when they were down 1-0. And I did it with the over 1.5 team total at plus 150 with Calgary live. They ended up tying it in the third, and then they won it in a shootout. That came through. Definitely, we had a couple losses as well, but definitely way more positives. Jason Dickinson with a goal prop, best bargain bin for Alex last night as well. It was just a very profitable betcast, clearly a better betcast as far as live results than the October one that we had on the Frozen Frenzy night. But great night overall, profitable night overall. The pregame bets did pretty well. The live bets did great. And more importantly, we just had a great time with all our viewers and listeners, many of which joined us on the stream. Eddie Lack popped in for a few minutes as well. Just great times once again, Alex, last night on the Ice Guys Live betcast. And we're already counting down the days until the next one. And we announced it on the betcast last night. We will have our next betcast and our only betcast in December, our last betcast of the calendar year, 2024, Tuesday, December the 10th. Okay, Tuesday, December the 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. That is our next betcast, 3 weeks away. And we are already looking forward to it after just a great betcast last night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, ton of fun, and it's even more enjoyable when you're cashing bets. And to just, we were on fire last night at the whole group. So just a lot of fun. Like I said, it's just a good time. And if you haven't joined us you weren't on last night, you didn't join us in October, do not miss December 10th. These are getting better and better, and certainly as we go into the second half of the season and we get out of the Four Nations tournament break, when we amp these up and we go two times, 3 times a month, we have those Patreon special betcasts. That's when we really start to grind down and get some big profits, because the second half of the season really lends itself toward live betting more. So like I said, we're doing it, getting the motion going now, but it's really about sharpening the sword for the second half.
No doubt. And like I said, it was a great betcast last night. Lots of fun with it, and excited to see what we can do in December when we have our next betcast. Just quickly on last night, because we just mentioned a few of the highlights of our live betting endeavors just a moment ago during the betcast. But yes, Tampa Bay comes back to beat Pittsburgh 3-2. Love to see that. Even though, we'd lost the team total component of that bet pregame, we came back, we got the money line, we got the live bet on Tampa Bay as well to come back from that 2-0 deficit to win 3-2. Edmonton with a 5-2 win against Ottawa. I'll definitely live with losing the Sens money line because the much bigger investment for me was the system play and the over trifecta in that game. And we obviously swept with that as the Oilers get a 5-2 victory over the Senators. The other system play, another terrific result, 6-3 Winnipeg with the victory over the Panthers. First period over. We didn't get both teams to score in that game, but we did get the first period over and the full game over, and we had a big piece of Winnipeg. First period puck line plus 186. Really nice to cash that as well. Figured Winnipeg would have a strong start, but they carried it throughout that game and responding and bouncing back really nicely after getting shut out by the Panthers in the meeting between these teams down in Florida. A big night for Mark Scheifele, gets the hat trick for the Winnipeg Jets in that game. And Morgan Barron gets not one, but two empty net goals to put that game away for the Jets in the latter portion of the game. Minnesota, 4-2 win over the St. Louis Blues. The draw for us fell short there, but another nice road win for the Minnesota Wild. Last night, Blues get Robert Thomas back, but as sometimes can happen, you get your key player back. You don't always win that first game, and often you can lose it, and that's exactly what happened to the Blues last night. Chicago offensive doldrums continue. 3-2 loss to the Anaheim Ducks, a game where they held a lead going into the third period, but that lead was erased by third period goals courtesy of Alex Killorn and Leo Carlsson to give Anaheim a 3-2 win, and two very solid back-to-back road wins in a row for the Anaheim Ducks last night. And we were watching Chicago's attempt to try to tie that game in the last minute or so. Not a lot of quality getting at John Gibson in the final minute with the Blackhawks with quite frankly, a feeble attempt, if you ask me, to try to tie that game in the last minute against Anaheim last night. We all enjoyed Calgary coming back to beat the Islanders 2-1 in a shootout. The Tylanders, again, get it done for us with the draw in that game. Another gem by Dustin Wolf in net. Hungry like the wolf. He was outstanding again last night for the Calgary Flames. He is building a nice little resume of recent starts for the Flames in net, playing extremely well. Was absolutely phenomenal in the shootout as well, where he just shuts the door. Now, the Islanders aren't a great shootout team, but still, Wolf doesn't give up a goal. Varlamov gives up two, and that's the difference. And the Flames get the shootout victory there, 2-1 over the Islanders. And then we wrapped up the night with a very entertaining game. A lot of goals early. It kind of calmed down after that, but it still went over the total. Rangers with a 4-3 win over the Vancouver Canucks in that one. Rick Tocchet was happy enough with their effort and said they played hard, but unfortunately did not result in a win for the Vancouver Canucks. It was a Kiefer Sherwood. We mentioned on the betcast last night, he's playing on the top line. Get on that goal prop for him north of plus 400, and he was able to get one of the goals for Vancouver. It was a great night for Will Cooley, Capo Caco, two of the better forwards again for the New York Rangers. They've played very well lately for this Blue Shirts team, and the Rangers start their road trip with back-to-back wins. They shut out Seattle Sunday, and they get a nice 4-3 win last night. Alex, your thoughts on last night?
Yeah, we can start with that Hawks game. Like you said, that was nice to see the bargain bin come in once again. Jason Dickinson, he's been pulling his weight, scoring 2 goals in that contest. But it's just hard to see. Like I said, no life, no pushback late when you need it. This is just an offense that has been way too hot and cold for the talent that they have on paper. And that's, like I said, at this point now, you have to look at coaching. I get their guys going through slumps. We look at Bedard. He should be pulling his weight a lot better. But we're talking about the issues of whether he should be a centerman or a winger at this point now. They're moving things around. I like the idea of them being creative, but it's not enough. Being creative with the line moves is not enough. They got to do something else differently to get this offense rolling. I don't know what's going to take at this point. So for Anaheim to look like just absolute defensive monsters in the third period, shut that game down and take it over, that's unacceptable at home. The Hawks need to be better than that right now. Minnesota, that was a great win. Like you said, 4-2 on the road. We would love to see the draw, but That's a game they lose a couple of years ago. That's a game they lose last season. And to find a way to win and get that empty net goal late and put that game away rather than giving up the tying goal, that shows some serious growth with this Wild team. And you look at the team that they're chasing, the Winnipeg Jets, continue to roll, doubling up Florida 6-3 in that game, and that's just going to be the big battle now. Is like I said, Winnipeg. We know the regression. We feel it's coming with this road trip. And you're looking at the prices. I was talking to somebody on Twitter earlier. They were talking about, are the Jets being disrespected as being, priced at 20-1, 25-1 to win the cup? If we see them get out of this road trip over the next week or so, and they, relatively unscathed, then that would be the time to maybe look for them. But if they, fall down and get crushed on some of these road games, some of these, back-to-back spots they finally have coming up, that could be really tough, and that's where we could start seeing that regression. Doesn't mean that this team's not going to make the playoffs. Doesn't mean that this team's not going to be one of the top teams in the West late in the season. But I think we can pump the brakes on what we're seeing with this magical run from Winnipeg. Once the losses start to come to fruition, we'll start to see how what mettle this team really has. They haven't faced that much adversity. They've run through everybody. What do they look like when they've lost 2 games in a row, 3 games in a row? That's what I'm willing to see. Want to see from Winnipeg moving forward.
And that's going to be interesting to see. Great bounce back last night. Will Winnipeg sustain it? Obviously, before we get into Wednesday's card, we have to talk about the big news yesterday that not really surprising with the way things have been trending for the Boston Bruins, that Jim Montgomery is fired and relieved of his duties as head coach of the Boston Bruins. Joe Sacco, who was actually named not just the assistant, the associate head coach prior to the season, takes over now as the interim head coach. And you could almost see it with him getting that associate head coach post, I guess you could say, that before the season, that it was a short leash for Jim Montgomery going into this season. There's no question. That was clear as day. When Joe Sacco was named not just assistant coach, but associate head coach, definitely that you were worried about the long-term future for Jim Montgomery if things got off to a rocky start. And boy, have they ever gotten off to a bad start. And it is unfortunate, because to me, this is not a head coaching problem. This is a player's problem. This is a Don Sweeney, Cam Neely problem. That's what this is right now for the Boston Bruins. And you look at some of these moves that have not panned, which I'll get to in a minute, but you're talking about gassing a head coach with a 7-15 win percentage, okay? 7-15 in 2+ seasons with this Boston Bruins team, and an unreal coaching record in the regular season of 120. He's lost 41 fucking games in regulation time. How many games have they played? That's 161. That's 184 regular season games for Jim Montgomery. And out of those 184 regular season games, he's lost 41 in regulation time. 41. And somehow, some way, he is the scapegoat for management's problems and players fucking underachieving and dragging ass on this hockey team right now. And I look at Elias Lindholm as one of the culprits right now. $7.75 million was given to this guy. What has he delivered you? Nothing. And the problem with the Bruins was, and Neely and Sweeney in particular, they misevaluated Elias Lindholm's stature. He is not a number 1 center, and yet they have tried to fit him in there as a number 1 center all season long, and he has given them zip offensively. He is not a really fast guy either, and that's another thing that has really been a problem with the way this roster has been constructed. They've become older. They've become a lot slower. I watch this Bruins team night in and night out. It's like they're skating in quicksand night in and night out, this team. There's no real burst of speed. Even their younger players, I think there's faster, younger prospects I see on other teams than what I'm seeing right now from the Boston Bruins. Matt Patra has not taken a step forward this year. Put a lot of hopes on him. But more so, the guys they brought in this year to try to make this team better or plug the holes. Elias Lindholm, it's been absolute disaster. Zadorov's had a brutal year too. Let's not forget that. Those are the 2 guys they got from the Vancouver Canucks in the offseason. Jim Montgomery didn't bring those guys in. Don Sweeney did. Cam Neely did. Those are the guys that brought them in. Charlie McAvoy's had a down year. We know Pasternak, is up and down. You know what? Pasternak's still giving you the offense, but Pasternak right now is turning the puck over, and his defensive game at times has been absolutely pathetic quite honestly, in some of these games. Marchand's had a quiet year. Charlie Coyle, I'm sick of waiting on Charlie Coyle to be that dominant top 6 center or dominant top 2 line center. It's not happening. I'm waiting. I never see it. Yeah, Zadorov, bonehead penalties. That's a great point. Takes too many of them. You haven't seen a lot of development yet. They're basically asking, and Charlie McAvoy, I cut him some slack, even though he's had a bit of a tough season, because they're asking Mason Lowry to be a number 1 pair defenseman. I don't think he's there yet. They're asking Parker Wotherspoon to step up and be in your second pair. I don't think he's there yet. Brandon Carlo's not had a great year. How many times has he been caught out of position? How many times has he been beaten to the front of the net, lose coverage in his own zone? So this defense, which was basically the foundation of what made the Boston Bruins this top-tier NHL team all these years, it's basically fallen apart. They can't defend. They're slow as fuck as a hockey team. Their collective team speed is, I think some anteaters can move faster than some of these guys right now on the Boston Bruins. The power plays garbage, as Aaron says. That's absolutely true. It's just a collective mess right now. Penalty kills falling off. Again, they lose puck battles because, you have to think the game fast, and it's not just skating fast. Their skating speed as a team is not good, but they don't think the game fast. Do you see even when they have the puck and you want to talk about why the power play is bad? It's like they telegraph everything. It's like the other team they just move the puck slowly. Stationary as fuck. Nobody's moving around. No one's trying to get into the open areas. It's almost like Boston's forgot that there's a bumper zone that people use on the power play as well. I mean, to me, this is just this is a player issue. This is a construction of the roster issue. This is a lack of team speed issue. This is a lack of high-end skill issue. Because once you get past Pastrnak, quite honestly, Lindholm's supposed to have the high-end skill. He's not showing it. His offense is in the tank. Brazo's still young. I haven't seen it enough yet. Marchand is, not going to get any better. He's going to get, if anything, a decline because as he's getting older. I love the effort we get from Morgan Geekie, but I mean, we got him up there on a top line now. I love Morgan Geekie, but my gosh, that tells you the dearth of options offensively the Bruins have right now. That at this point in time, Morgan Geekie's got to be put on a top line situation right now. It's just really unfortunate. And then you've got, Mark Kastelik, believe it or not, for the early part of the season was keeping the Bruins offense afloat, of all things. So, yeah, I look at this roster and I just, where do you go for options? Now, Joe Sacco's taken over. I see the line combinations. He's finally moved Lindholm down to the second line center spot, which should have been done a long time ago. I think that's probably the one thing you could criticize Jim, is that he just kept Elias Lindholm in that number 1 center spot just far too long. Sacco's finally bumping him down to the number 2 spot, and Zacha looks like he's going to be the number 1 center. They're going to try to infuse Georgi Merkulov into the lineup. This is one of their prospects they like. But again, this guy's only played 6 games in the NHL, 4 last year, 2 this year. He did get an assist in one of the 2 games. Like I said, we'll see if they get something from him. But like I said, there is not a lot of, wow, we can really pull something out of Providence right now in the American Hockey League to really infuse this team and give them the spark they need. Now, will you get that collective team bump and uptick first game or 2, at least, with Joe Sacco behind the bench? Yeah, quite possibly. We often see it. It becomes, you get a little spark, a little bump initially from the coaching change. But I'll tell you what, I'm not there yet as far as saying with this coaching change, Boston's going to go 9-1 or 10-2 in their next 10 or 12 games. I'm not there right now with Boston at this point in time. So, like I said, I think a really good man who battled his ass off from personal demons and alcoholism to get that back behind an NHL bench, was thrown under the bus, was made to be the scapegoat. That record is incredible that all of a sudden now, just because of 1 month of bad hockey and horrible management and horrible roster construction, that this good coach pays the price for it with Jim Montgomery. Not at all something that I agree with. And like I said, Don Sweeney and Cam Neely are culpable here in the way things are with the Boston Bruins at this point in time. Alex, your thoughts on the unfortunately not so surprising dismissal of Jim Montgomery yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, we knew the writing was on the wall for a while now. And when you saw how the Bruins came out just completely lifeless against Columbus, of all teams, a team that you've dominated, a team that is one of the bottom 5, bottom 10 teams in this league, you knew a change had to be made. And like you said, this is not all Montgomery's fault. He said this is not that good of a team. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that are Montgomery's fault. Like you said, the unwillingness to move Lindholm
Yeah.
as the number one
he
center.
deserves blame for that, no question. Yeah.
There's a lot of questionable moves he's made. The biggest questionable move of his tenure had to be after you've won the most games and had the most points in NHL history. You have a goalie in Linus Ullmark who's battling an injury, and you decided to roll with him as your starter when you had 2 quality goaltenders. That's the biggest. That's where it all starts. That's the top in the beginning of the fall down, because you go with Swayman early, knowing that Ullmark is injured, and Swayman possibly. Okay, we're talking about altering history at that point, right? Because now Boston gets out of that first round, not Florida. And we're talking about a whole different – this conversation doesn't even happen right now. So it started from there. And the fact that you blew the best season in NHL history, and then you turn around and have another good year and you still fall flat in the playoffs, and then you just come out with nothing at the beginning of this year. There's a culmination here. So we can't just all say, oh, this one bad month, this 2 bad months is the reason why Jim's getting kicked to the curb. There's a lot of different things that went on, but it ain't all his fault. He's made mistakes, but a lot of those mistakes are as a result of the bigger problem, which is Sweeney and Neely. And shout out to John Scott, who said this on Twitter earlier today. Teams have to stop holding on to these great legendary former players and giving them this extra leeway as coaches and as GMs. Okay? Rob Blake, Steve Yzerman, Cam Neely, the things you did in those uniforms were fantastic and they'll never be forgotten. But all 3 of you guys are shit in the bed. Throw Joe Sakic in there too. With Colorado, the 4 of you are shit in the bed at GMs. You're missing a whole lot of key points, key things, holes that need to be filled. You just aren't doing it. No. And what you did on the ice 20, 30, 40 years ago, okay, hell, half of us can't even remember that shit. Some of us do. But that's beside the point. The thing is here and now. Your job here and now is GM. Fuck what you did as a player. That don't change what you're doing right now in this office. And these guys are not making the quality moves in the office. And Sweeney and Neely are at the top of that list as far as former players who are given way too much leeway. They need to go. They need to go. They need to go at the end of this year. And you look at what's in the cupboard for Boston. It ain't much.
Ron Hextall, another great example from someone in our chat. Ron Hextall.
Yep.
Yeah,
same shit. Same thing. You can't let these players, former players, have this extra leg room to fuck things up just because they were great players. You have to treat them just like every other GM. We want Stan Bowman the hell out of there. We want all these other GMs who never skated a minute on ice. Okay, we have to treat these players the exact same way. These ex-players the same way, and I think that's the biggest problem here with Boston. And as I said, you look at their draft picks; they have only a first round pick and a third round pick next year. Nothing in the second and fourth. They need to really start trying to build that cupboard back, because when Marchand's officially done and gone, when you have if Pasternak doesn't pan out and consistently continues to be one of the top players in the league, if the Lindholm contract ends up being a dud. If the goaltending doesn't hand up, if we realize, Swayman wasn't the guy that's worth $8.5 million, okay, now what do you do to rebuild? Or are you going to be in a loop spin for 12 years like Pittsburgh? So that's the questions that Boston's upper ownership has to ask now. What do we do? Because it's deeper than players, it's deeper than coaching. This is now your general management as well.
Yeah, and another thing too. Nobody said you had to cave into the demands of one Jeremy Swayman either. Let's not forget that.
And look, and wait, how crazy is this? Y'all went back and forth with all this bullshit and to land on $8.5 million, and now we find out the cap might go up an extra $5 million next year. Yeah. So you wasted all that time, and Swayman didn't get ready all September for what?
Yeah,
it's insane.
For what? When the cap's going up, and you could have, you could have found obviously something better and more advantageous to your salary cap.
And you don't need to
knowing the cap numbers going up. 100%.
And you don't need to be pinching pennies with goaltending. Goaltending is your most fucking important thing. Look at LA. Look at Colorado. Okay? They stuck with their one goalies. They're trying to move things around and not spend for a big goaltender in LA, not spend for a big goalie because we got things coming up in Detroit. And look at what they're doing right now. A bunch of nothing.
Yeah, no doubt. And we see this all the time. We see it with coaches former coaches and former players made executives. It doesn't always pan out. It doesn't always work out at all. Look at these multiple player examples, that guys that were players in the NHL that become GMs and they're not doing a good job. You know,
Coach, the greatest hockey player of all time was a dog shit coach, Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, there you go. 100%. Players becoming coaches or executives doesn't always work. Or coaches becoming executives too. Like look at Bill Belichick in the NFL. Unbelievable head coach. Absolutely pathetic, horrific general manager. Horrific. You know, at the end of the day. Yeah. So it just goes to show that sometimes you're better in one role, and that's the role you should just be in, and not try to do something. Even I'm starting to sour on Barry Trotz a little bit now, believe it or not, as GM right now with Nashville. Like he's put in a lot of eggs in this basket here, and if it doesn't work out, it's not going to look good on him. You know,
I'm gonna tell you what's different about Trotz.
Yeah.
Because see, Trotz is still a head coach at heart. And Trotz is the kind of guy who would say, you know what, this shit ain't working. He'd fire Andrew Brunette and go down there and be on that bench himself. So that's the difference. At least he will take ownership and say, you know what, maybe I made some mistakes here, but I'm going to go clean this shit up myself. And if I can't do it, then I'm gone. But that's the one difference where I won't put Trotz in the same kind of bucket because he's a little different. I think he's a little different in that aspect.
Yeah. Well, like I said, and there's still time when Nashville's in action tonight. There's still time for Nashville to get their season going again. And certainly they had a nice win the other night. We'll see if that carries over to tonight. But definitely, like I said, we have seen multiple examples across all sports. Even you could say ownership. Michael Jordan, the best NBA player of all time. What's he been as an owner with the Charlotte team?
Awful. And the Wizards as a GM, awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's just sometimes when you play, maybe you should just play. Maybe it's just not meant to be for a player to then become a head coach or a player to then become a GM or an owner. It's just not exactly meant for success, and you're just not cut out for the role. Sometimes it's just that simple. And like I said, this is now on Don Sweeney and these are fucking amazing coaches that they have now fired. 3 of them, going back to Claude Julien, years ago, who won Boston Stanley Cup for them, of course, in 2011. In the Stanley Cup final against Vancouver. They cut him loose. Then they bring in Bruce Cassidy. They cut Bruce Cassidy loose, who it happens to go on and win the Stanley Cup the very next year, in his first year with the Vegas Golden Knights. And now they've fired another great. How many head coaches do these guys get to fire? How many? They're going to get a chance to fire a 4th one now. If Sacco spits the bit and things don't improve, they're going to get a chance to let Sacco go now as well. Come on. What point do you say enough's enough? And now you have to ask Jacobs this now, the Jacobs family. When are you guys going to step in and do something about this? Where the hell are you? Where the hell is the Jacobs clan right now, as far as their culpability in this as well? You're allowing this horrific management group at the moment to run around and not improve the roster, make them slower, make them older, make them worse. Bad contracts, players underachieving given these bad contracts. Where are they right now at this point in time? Look, I get the old man is like in his mid-80s now, if I'm not mistaken. Jeremy Jacobs, the principal owner of this team. I get it. Maybe he's not going to be able to have boots on the ground every day or be right there on site to analyze things. But he's got kids that are, I think his son Charlie, is still very much involved with the Bruins. The whole family, has been basically MIA here during this whole situation. And it's almost like they've disappeared. And it's almost like they've taken cover and run for cover with just the hornet's nest being unleashed with this organization right now. So, yeah, bottom line is a lot of issues right now with the Bruins. And to me, this is more management and player performance and underperformance than it is coaching. All right, but we do wish Joe Sacco well. He was given a tough situation in Colorado the one previous time he got the chance to be an NHL head coach, and certainly do wish him well. And a lot of people do like Joe Sacco in the organization. The players do. So we'll see what that means for Boston's results and moving forward, and see if they can use this to maybe turn things around. I'm skeptical, but we shall see. All right, let's go to Wednesday's slate. We've got the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Even money both sides here in this game. The total 6 across the board. Austin Matthews' return has been delayed, and he's over in Germany, believe it or not. The latest update that he's getting treatment still to try to figure out what's going on with his injury. So he's still out. Max Domi also out, but Max Domi, A, has struggled, and B, has been playing through something. And Craig Berube said it a couple days ago that he has definitely been playing through some pain and some injuries, and he hasn't been playing great. So I think it's not that big of a deal that he's not playing. He hasn't been very effective. He's been struggling. A lot of lineup changes for the Leafs tonight. They call up Fraser Minton from the American Hockey League, and he will be on the second line, it looks like, tonight. Not the bottom 6, but they're going to give him second line work tonight with William Nylander and Matthew Knies. So a big body here to the Maple Leafs, and I said I'm interested to see how that goes for him tonight. And also other Maple Leafs to play tonight in this game is Nikita Grabenkin, and actually has played hockey league here for the season. So, like I said, definitely a couple of new faces here for Toronto. It'll be interesting to see how it turns out for them. But definitely, like I said, with
Not sure where Ian went. Okay. We'll wait for him to return back. Not sure if he can hear us or if he's got to just come back out, kick back out, and go to the third screen here.
Sorry about that. We are back. Sorry
Okay.
about that. We are back. Yeah, just another window crap. But we're back.
Right.
Exactly. Close the tabs. Too many open. But yeah. So the bottom line is Domi out, Matthews out. 2 call-ups from the American Hockey League are in tonight. Nikita Grabenkin and Fraser Minton from the American Hockey League. And both guys playing very well down there. So there's hope and belief for the Leafs that those guys can come in and play well, make an impact, be strong, give them still a good chance to compete and win hockey games. No question about that. For Vegas, Aiden Hill in net. For the Leafs, Joseph Woll in net. There are still a lot of injuries for Vegas. Olofsson, Nick Hague on the blue line out. Mark Stone on IR. Like I joked on Twitter the other day, we'll see you in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs if you're Mark Stone at this point in time. But he's on IR right now. Vegas coming off the loss to Washington 5-2. I like the spot for Vegas coming off the loss. I think you get a good performance from them. They did win in Toronto last year against the Leafs. I lean to the Vegas Golden Knights, but the road record, and especially the road record against better teams, I'm still shaky of it. Because a lot of the wins that Vegas has had, a lot of them have been against the Sisters of the Poor on the road. As far as being asked to step up and beat good teams on the road, well, they did beat Edmonton. That's the one when Connor McDavid came back. But really, other than that, they haven't had a ton of great road wins this year. We have seen, by the way, a couple of the last 5 meetings go to overtime between these two teams, the Golden Knights and the Leafs, and more importantly, Toronto back-to-back games that have gone past regulation. So I like this this draw here in this game. As far as the side goes, that's the only thing I really like here in this one. But yeah, I like the draw in this game. I actually lean over with this total. Don't love it, but we actually have seen Vegas and Toronto, oddly enough, play a lot of overs recently head-to-head between the two teams. So we'll give a little nod to the over here, maybe the bifecta just because of the Vegas track record with first periods, but I will give a small nod to the over bifecta and the draw here with Vegas and Toronto tonight. And there are a lot of props I like, which I'll get to in a moment. Alex, what do you think here, Vegas-Toronto?
So yeah, I do like this over bifecta in game. With -124 available in the first period over right now, and you got over 6s available at 110, we can get plus money on both of those. Maybe even look for 5.5 with that full game over. So I will be targeting those. That'll be the circled live spot for the evening. Also on the draw as well, got plus 360 at FanDuel, and there's a player prop that I like here for the bargain bin.
Remember, just like with the Islanders Flames draw last night, you got East versus West here in this game. So the other team getting points. Toronto does not care one bit if Vegas gets a point out of this game and vice versa. So all the more reason, if it's a close game late, don't take chances. Get the point, secure the point, and get the game to overtime. As far as props for this game, there are a few for Vegas. I like Kloshev, Barbashev, Dorofeev, Nicholas Waugh, who has stepped up and gotten more minutes because he's playing with Hurdle and Kolasar on the second line. I think all of them worth a look right now for the Vegas Golden Knights. And then for Toronto, yes, Matthew Nyes, hungry Nyes. Yes, definitely worth a look still. I think Fraser Minton getting this opportunity here tonight on the second line with Nylander and Nyes is worth a look. This is a guy that's playing well down there in the with the Marlies. And even Nikita Grabenkin has been getting the stat sheet going on the third line. And I think the best prop of all is our guy, Bobby McMahon, who has been elevated to the top line in recent games with Marner and Tavares. And he's got 3 goals in the last 2 games for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So Bobby McMahon continues to be just a terrific value-laden player prop, goal prop option right now for the Toronto Maple Leafs, no doubt. At the moment with the way he's playing. All right, next up, it is the first game of a TNT doubleheader tonight. Carolina and Philadelphia in the city of brotherly love. We've got Carolina currently minus 220 road favorites in this, actually minus 230, believe it or not, in some spots. So a big price here against what's been a very feisty, competitive Philadelphia team lately. The total sitting at 6, shaded to the over in this game. Ivan Fedotov gets the start here tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers, who has had some improvement here in the last couple of games. Can he carry that over is the question, but we have seen him give up 2 goals or less in 2 of the last 3 starts. Nice 5-2 win against Buffalo. The offense did bail him out against Ottawa, where they came back to beat the Senators 5-4. He did give up 4 goals in that game, but again, the offense kind of bailed him out. He did get a win against Tampa Bay. He has been a little bit better. There's slow, steady improvement coming from Fedotov, but I still don't, I'm not totally there yet with him. I've got to continue to see more, and I want to see what he's made of tonight, because there is not many teams at the offensive end of the ice playing with more consistency or playing better right now than the Carolina Hurricanes. We've talked about this several games in a row. I have with Carolina. They're just almost a shoo-in most nights to get 4 goals. It's just been incredible how often this team has been able to get 4 goals. So, not overthinking it. Give me Carolina team total over 3.5 tonight. Minus 120. We've talked about this a lot. When Carolina wins, they usually score 4 goals. And that's been the norm for them during this great start to the year that Rod Brindamore's team has had, led by the incomparable moving to the country. Gonna meet me, Marty Necas. Marty Necas has been spectacular. What an incredible start to his season. He's just been a goal-scoring, point-producing machine for this team. And I'm going back and looking at this right now. 9 of the last 10 games, Carolina has scored at least 4 goals. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Give me this Hurricanes team total here over 3.5 tonight. I don't know what we're going to get in terms of goaltending from Carolina. There's not a confirmation yet, but there's a talk that it might be Spencer Martin again. Rod Brindamore rewarding him for a very solid performance in the shutout win against Ottawa on Saturday night. So we could see a Spencer Martin performance in net tonight for Carolina. I don't know if that's why I just prefer the team total, because Martin played great. I'll give Martin credit. Martin played really good against Ottawa on Saturday night. So it's not that automatic. Well, Spencer Martin's in. We're going to trust Philly's offense now because of that. So I just prefer in this game, regardless of who's in net for Carolina, just to bet Carolina's team total over 3.5. Again, this team has gotten 4 goals now in 9 of their last 10 games. Very capable of it once again tonight, because I've still got some doubts about Mr. Fedotov. A little bit better the last couple starts, but I do need to see more. Let's also keep in mind one of those was against Buffalo. Ottawa still got 4 goals against him, so that's why I still like this team total here for the Hurricanes tonight. Alex, what do you think here? Carolina, Philly.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that team total, but I will be adding the over 6 if Martin's confirmed. I don't trust him to come back with another standout performance. Certainly not a shutout performance, but even just a quality performance. This is a shaky goalie. Fedotov's a shaky goalie, so I will be on over 6 if Martin's confirmed. But as of right now, just that team total over 3.5 minus 118 is available at FanDuel.
I agree with that. The over 6 would be of interest for me if it's because as great as Spencer Martin was against Ottawa, sometimes with the the lower tier goalie, the journeyman goalie like he is. He gets the shutout, and he's not that same guy the next time.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we'll see if that's indeed the case here tonight. As far as props, there are a few that stand out. I think for Carolina, Nate that's a no-brainer to say he's worth a look. But Roslovic, Eric Robinson, who's really stepped up lately, even Jackson Blake down the lineup, Martinook, who's actually had a good track record, I believe, against Philadelphia, Jordan Martinook. And then for Philly, there's a few options. Anthony Richard, Matvey Mishkov, we've talked about them being able to step up offensively for this team. Even on the blue line, Travis Sanheim has actually chipped in the last few games from an offensive perspective. 6 points and 2 goals for him in the last 3 games. So if you really want to get adventurous, maybe a Travis Sanheim goal prop here for the Philadelphia Flyers tonight, seeing what he's done in the last few games with the 6 points and the 3 goals for Sanheim in the last few games, entering this one here tonight. All right, we got San Jose and Dallas. The Dallas Stars, massive favorites here, man. Minus 485. This did touch minus 500 briefly earlier in the day, but around 485, 490 is what we're looking at with Dallas as a huge favorite. 6.5 the total in this game. Now, if Dallas hadn't lost to Anaheim the other night, I'd be tempted by San Jose. This is a very feisty team right now, very competitive. We saw them obviously beat Detroit. Now, Detroit's got their issues, but we obviously saw them still look solid, get a nice home win against the Red Wings 5-4. They lose in a shootout 4-3 to Pittsburgh. They lose by 1 goal to the Rangers. They lose in a shootout to Philly. They beat New Jersey 1-0. I mean, they're 2-3 in their last 5 games, and the 3 losses were by 1 goal, and 2 of them went past regulation. This has just been, a very, very good run of competitive hockey from this Sharks team. And again, it coincides, I think, with Celebrini, who's the straw that stirs the drink already for this team. We're seeing it, just how big it is to have him back going into this situation. We'll see how it goes for San Jose. Yeah, I don't love the schedule because they've played a lot of games. They went on the road through the East Coast, back home for 1 game, and now they got to travel again and play on the road against Dallas tonight, who aren't going to be probably in a great mood after losing 4-2 to Anaheim the other night. So you're right, it's not the greatest situation here for the San Jose Sharks coming into this one. Yet that being said, Dallas has not had an easy time of it in this building against San Jose. Go back and look at the last 2 meetings, and those were some horrible San Jose teams and some great Dallas teams. And the last 2 times here at American Airlines Center in Dallas, 3-2 Stars in a shootout over the Sharks, March of 2024. And then earlier this year, last month, in fact, 3-2 Dallas in a shootout over this San Jose Sharks team. I have to sprinkle this draw. I just have to here with the Sharks and the Stars tonight. San Jose's keeping everyone in, they're not losing contact in these games. Each of their last 3 losses have been by just 1 goal. It's been a lot of travel. That does concern me. Does it catch up to the Sharks possibly tonight? But I think at this price here, with what you're going to get on the draw, it's worth a look, given the fact that the last 2 meetings in Dallas, Sharks versus Stars, has gone past regulation. Plus 500 on that draw at FanDuel. Got to take that for something. You just given what we have seen. Alex, what do you think here? Sharks Stars.
I mean, we said it the other day. Plus 500 on a draw is an automatic bet, even if it's small. And with that being said, this being San Jose, we got lucky with it last time. We're not going to make this a regular thing, but we are going to go 60-minute correct score. We're going 3-3 correct score after 60, plus 1,700. So we're taking small shots with those. Like I said, there's nothing Dallas of value we can lay. Don't trust San Jose in this spot to back the money line. So it's just going with the draw and the 60-minute correct score.
Yep. Mackenzie Blackwood and Jake Ottinger, your goaltending matchup here tonight in this one with the Sharks and the Stars. And Blackwood's actually been a little bit better lately. We'll give him some. Since that New Jersey shutout, that's really gotten him going. He played well, really, in most starts. The Detroit game was a bit of a tough spot. They kind of played like shit in front of him. And one of those goals, too, was, a bit of a fluke goal that beat him by Detroit in that game. So, yeah, the plus 500. Draw I like. I do think if you're going to take Dallas, the sentiment in the chat, some of the people there like that first period puck line. I think that's the only way you could approach it with Dallas here in this game is that first period. But I don't like the price of that. Yeah,
$1.10 with that.
That's the problem. I just hate the price. I cannot justify taking a first period puck line and laying a price on it, where I've got to ask that team to actually lead after the first period, and it's like minus 105, minus 110 with that. I just hate that value. I think in theory, it makes sense that you're going to have a better start for Dallas after a bad start the other night. So, but at minus 105, minus 110, I just don't like that a whole lot. I agree as far as our guy Matt Robinson saying, if you're going to bet props for Dallas, take the hottest line they've got going by far right now. Goal, assist, point props, you name it. And that's Mason Marchment, Matt Duchene, and Tyler Seguin. Those are the guys that have been absolutely outstanding of late here for the Dallas Stars. That line has great chemistry. You can see it. It's evident when you watch Dallas play lately, and some of the playmaking that you're seeing, and some of the goals, and just the offense that they're creating right now. Very impressive. They are putting the Rope Hintz Robertson line to shame, quite honestly, and they've even been better than Ben Wyatt Johnston and Logan Stankoven. That has been the line that has been humming for the Dallas Stars. Marchment, Duchene, and Seguin. So yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you're going to look at props involving anyone on Dallas, those are the three you want to target right now, the way they're playing at this point in time. All right, and even the team total for Dallas, you got to take 4.5 with it. So there you go. It's very hard to find value with Dallas, quite honestly, in this game. All right, Nashville and Seattle. Next up, we've got, this is the second TNT game tonight, by the way, of their doubleheader. Nashville minus 140, road favorites. The total in this one, 5.5, pretty much across the board in this game. Nashville getting a much-needed win on this road trip, which had not gotten off to a very good start with the losses, obviously, to Colorado, to Edmonton, and then to Calgary, where they get shut out 2-0. But they bounced back. It was a system play game for Nashville against Vancouver. First period over, full game over, hit quite easily, 5-3 win. And now this is also a system play involving the Nashville Predators, although this is because Seattle is coming off getting shut out in their last game 2-0 by the New York Rangers on Sunday night. So system play in effect, and just when we were getting a little bit worried and a little bit concerned about the direction of the system play, 5 or 6 days ago, it has come back with a vengeance the last few games. We saw Nashville, Vancouver Sunday, 2-0 sweep with the system play there. We saw last night the 2 games with the system play in effect, Edmonton, Ottawa, Florida, Winnipeg, 4-0 sweep. Both legs of the system play in both games come through, first period over and full game over. So definitely back to it tonight, first period over, full game over. And because this full game totals 5.5, the first period over, you can get it at minus 110, even money at some spots. So great prices here, over 1.5 first period, over 5.5 full game. I think even if this wasn't a system play game, I'd be kind of interested in the over, because Nashville finally saw some pucks go in. They finally saw the red light go on a little bit against Vancouver with that 5-goal explosion. They needed that in the worst way, a team that has really underachieved offensively. They needed to see Steven Stamkos step up and get 2 goals like he did against Vancouver. That should be positive for Nashville, and some offensive confidence that they badly needed going into going into this game here tonight against Seattle. Joey Daccord is confirmed in net for Seattle. We don't have confirmation for Nashville, but we assume UC Saros will probably get the start for them here in this game. Just hasn't been confirmed as of yet. Seattle, it's also worth noting as far as the system play here in these overs, the first period full game, we saw Seattle go over the total in the first couple of games on the road trip. The last 3 have stayed under, but again, a team that does play with that pace, and more so than anything, those last 3 unders weren't so much, until the Ranger game where they got shut out. You can blame their offense for it staying under. But the Islander and the Blackhawk games that stayed under, they did score 3. It's just that the Islanders in Chicago did nothing offensively. And now with Nashville finding some confidence offensively, like I said, I think there's still enough factors here that point to why this, even if it wasn't a system play, I'd probably still like this over tonight at 5.5 here in this game. Alex, what do you think here? Predators, Kraken.
Yeah, I was just trying to check and update the numbers. Am I right on this? 26-13 with the first period over in the system. 23-13 and 3 full game.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So I'm rolling with the system play here. Also, we'll add both teams to score in the first period as well. So we'll make this a over trifecta. That's my only plays with this.
They do, but and another thing too to factor in is Rich H with yes, they haven't been the greatest first period over teams, either one, Nashville and Seattle, but they did play each other in October, and both teams were off a shutout loss in that game. It's 3-2 after the first period in that game, and 7-3 for Seattle overall. It's actually, I actually lean Nashville in this game. I just didn't like the price enough. I don't want to lay minus 140 against Seattle at home. Especially with Seattle coming off a shutout loss. Seattle's probably come into play here as well. So I didn't want to get involved in the side. Like I said, just clearly I like full game over, first period over here in this game. I didn't make it a trifecta, but I might get in on a trifecta here as well and get that both teams to score in the first period as well. And Alex, I know, mentioned he liked that. As far as the props in this game, Nashville, we've got Forsberg, O'Reilly, Nyquist reunited. Stamkos, Sissons, Evangelista up on the second line. I do think there's value. This is a guy that I expected more from offensively, certainly more than 2 goals, but now he's going to be paired with Stamkos. Maybe that helps get him going a little bit. We shall see on that. How about that Sprong? Daniel Sprong for Seattle. He's been moved up to the second line for them here tonight with Chandler Stevenson, Jaden Schwartz. Keep an eye on that. I still think there's value with Burakovsky because he's playing with Beniers and McCann with Eberle out. So I still think Burakovsky worth a look as well as far as the advancement to the top line with the absence of Jordan Eberle for the Seattle Kraken. All right, final game for this Wednesday slate. We've got the Buffalo Sabres taking on the Los Angeles Kings. LA -1. Wow, this has climbed. This was -140, -150, all the way up to -165 right now. On the Los Angeles Kings, and the total here sitting at 5.5 across the board in this game. My guess is this is a reaction to the status of one or both of Alex Tuch and Tage Thompson. And it looks like, well, Alex Tuch is in, Tage Thompson is not. So there was some thought that both might be able to be back for the Sabres tonight. But yes, Tage Thompson is confirmed. He'll be out at least for one more game with a lower body injury. He might also miss, they said, the Anaheim game on Friday, but they say the San Jose game Saturday is the one they're kind of targeting for a potential return here for Tage Thompson at the moment. But Alex Tuch is back, so that will help the Sabres a little bit. LA, obviously, they've been a weird team. We talked about this on the Betcast last night, how up and down they've been. They've been very good at home here at Crypto.com Arena, 5-1-1. In their 7 home games this year, off a 4-1 win against Detroit in their last game, bouncing back after losing 2 on the road against Colorado and Calgary. Meanwhile, you got Buffalo off a 5-2 loss to Philadelphia in their last game. They've definitely had ample time to get it acclimated to the Pacific time zone, though, and the West Coast, because they played Saturday in Philly, and they haven't played since. Now they're playing on a Wednesday night, so definitely liking the fact that Buffalo's had some time here. They beat LA in LA last year, 5-3. They've actually won 3 of the last 5 meetings. And I remember having Buffalo against a struggling LA team early in the season when they played October 10th. And Buffalo should have won that game. They were up 1-0. It was actually a great game from Kemper. Kemper kept them in it, when it was 1-0 for the longest time. And then Buffalo just decided to act like idiots, honestly. In the third period and take a bunch of penalties and be shorthanded and give LA, a 5-on-3 in the third period. And LA came back and won the game 3-1. Penalty trouble, big time for Buffalo, cost them in that game. And it was a game-winning goal on the power play from Kopitar, that gave them the lead late in that game. So Sabre revenge angles, not so much what I'm interested in. What I'm interested in is you got Buffalo starting a road trip. They've been playing a little bit better lately. You're getting a nice price. You're getting an even better price now, as high as plus 145 now with Buffalo in this spot. I'm taking the Sabres here to get this road trip started right. LA, little maybe a little sleepy spot. You're playing a team you already beat in the other conference. Does that bring the Kings' best effort tonight? I'm not so sure about that. I think this is not a bad spot here to take Buffalo here. Plus 145 tonight in this game. Alex, what do you think here? Sabres, Kings.
I get the look, and like you said, this is scheduling spot wise, this would be worth the play, but I just don't trust Buffalo. I've had a tough read on Buffalo in LA, as Jake mentioned in the chat. It's one of the tougher teams to read right now in the league. this is a pass for me. I've got enough on the card tonight.
Yeah, maybe even, you know what I might do? Because sometimes you don't always trust the better team to hang in there for the whole game. And I remember this was the case with LA and Columbus. Columbus jumped on LA, got the first goal, but then they ended up losing the game. They had a bad second period, bad third period. I'm going to probably do a first period split with the full game with Buffalo. A little first period money line on Buffalo and a little full game money line on Buffalo, rather than putting it all on the full game. Because I am worried it's a good start for Buffalo. They catch LA napping early, and LA wakes up, and they are still a little bit better team than Buffalo. So they could bounce back, come back, and win that game. As far as goaltending, David Riddick is expected, but not confirmed yet for the Kings. He is now confirmed. Okay, David Riddick is in net, which is not surprising because Kemper is still on IR. And Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is projected for Buffalo, but that is not confirmed currently as of yet. So, yeah, I've decided I'm going to split Buffalo here between the first period and the full game. As far as props for this one, if you look at LA, Alex Turcotte could be with Kopitar and Kempe tonight. Keep that in mind. Getting a little bit of a bump now up the lineup. So that could provide some value there with the young 23-year-old playing with Kopi and Kempe on that top line for the LA Kings right now. That definitely stands out on their side. For Buffalo, you look at current Zach Benson. I've talked about Zach Benson a lot. He is really starting to heat up for the Buffalo Sabres, like what I'm seeing. 3 goals in the last 5 games from him playing with Dylan Cousins on the second line. So I definitely like Zach Benson and the way he's playing, and certainly still like the prices you're getting with him. Ryan McLeod could be centering the top line here for this Sabres team tonight with Paterka and a returning Alex Tuch. And it looks like this move is paying off because he has scored now in back-to-back games for the Buffalo Sabres. So Ryan McLeod, clearly, I think is a guy worth a look here tonight for Buffalo. If he's going to, and it looks like, as I said, he might be centering that top line with Paterka and Tuch. So there's another good value prop. And someone in the chat mentioned it. I mentioned Sanheim, someone that's been starting to score goals, shoot the puck a lot from the blue line. You could say that about Rasmus Dahlin right now for the Buffalo Sabres. 4 goals in the last 5 games and a 6-game point streak for the captain of the Buffalo Sabres, Rasmus Dahlin, coming into this game here tonight. And sometimes the adjustment is slow, if at all, when it comes to defensemen who start to go on a bit of a scoring binge and a scoring surge. And if you look at the goal prop for Rasmus Dahlin tonight, you're still getting plus 550 with him at BetMGM, among other books, to score a goal tonight when he's been on this little goal-scoring splurge lately for the Buffalo Sabres. So that's exactly to my point, that a lot of times you don't see the odds makers or the prices adjust at all when you start to see a defenseman in particular start to score those goals. So again, you're getting a great price there with the way Rasmus Dahlin has been starting to light the lamp from the blue line for the Buffalo Sabres. You know, plus 550 at FanDuel, plus 500 at PointsBet, plus 550 at BetMGM. So you've just got really good prices across the board to look toward Rasmus Dahlin here tonight in this game for the Buffalo Sabres. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. We appreciate it very much. Hit the like button on the way out. And again, a great Wednesday show. The Betcast was so much fun last night. And again, we appreciate everyone that joined us for that. A reminder, we also thank everyone for joining us on patreon.com/Ice Guys as a Patreon member. Just $10 per month. Again, if you haven't joined us yet, please do. Bonus content, goalie charts, totals charts, our daily betting cards, sides, totals, and player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. So make sure you sign up, $10 per month. It goes a long way to supporting the show long term. So sign up if you haven't already. Just $10 per month. Patreon.com/Ice Guys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We've got everything in stock right now. And starting today for the next 5 days, you get 15% off everything. Click on the redeem button at the top of the page, put everything in your cart, and 15% will be taken out at checkout. So 15% off everything at the store right now for the next 5 days. That's at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, check it out. Yes, just to confirm what someone's asking, yes, no Tage Thompson tonight. Won't be until Friday, probably more likely Saturday when they play San Jose on this road trip. That's more likely when Tage Thompson will return. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. We got Bargain Bin Special of the night and Best Bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Manscaped, Power Play Sportsbook, Raise Your Game, Tailgater Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
All right, shout out to all our great sponsors, including, of course, Boston Hemp Inc. Make sure you check them out. 20% off all orders on the website using the promo code ICEGUYS at bostonhempinc.com. And don't forget about the contest that we've got going in partnership with Boston Hemp Inc. as well. Get involved with that.
That's right, the High Holiday Giveaway. Check it out. I will be posting the link in the form to sign up on Patreon as soon as we're off the air. It's already posted on the top of our Twitter page, our X page at _Ice Guys. Sign on up and join in. We're going to give away 6 people are going to win prizes. 5 people are going to win $25 gift cards to Boston Hemp Inc. 1 person is going to win a box of all of my favorite goodies along with the gifts from Boston Hemp as well. So definitely check that out. Check out bostonhemp.com. Save 20% on all your orders using promo code IceGuys.
There we go. Matt's not waiting around until tomorrow when he rejoins us on the show. He's giving out a bargain bin right now. I think Celebrini, he says, is worth a look for the San Jose Dallas game tonight. Yeah, I mean, if he's probably worth a look right now any night, especially given if he's going to continue to get the prices he's getting. He's been great. Yeah, plus 330. I'm seeing it, so it does meet the criteria for bargain bin special of the night. I do like Macklin Celebrini, but that's not what I've got for bargain bin special of the night. It's actually, I'm going to go with 2 tonight, which I'll get to in a moment. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for your bargain bin special for this Wednesday?
Yeah, we're going with that game, Toronto and Vegas. Vegas has been susceptible to giving up some goals early. They haven't been scoring the first goal. It's been their opponent. So we look at Toronto, the first goal. I'm going with Mitch Marner, 13-1. You got Domi out, you got Matthews out. Those guys got to step up and deliver. I believe Mitch Marner can get things rocking and rolling early with the first goal of the game at 13-1. Available at FanDuel. That's my bargain bin special tonight.
There you go. Good stuff there with the Toronto Maple Leafs to get the first goal. That's first goal, right? Yeah, there you go.
First goal,
Mitchell
first goal,
Marner, Toronto Maple Leafs, first goal for Alex B. Smith with his bargain bin special of the night. One of my 2 bargain bin specials actually comes from that Vegas-Toronto game. We are going with the guy that has been on a roll the last 2 games, playing now on the top line with Tavares and Marner, the aforementioned Mitch Marner, and that's Bobby McMann, plus 320 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Still bargain bin worthy, but top line and producing the way he has, goals in back-to-back games. We'll go back to the well with Bobby McMann for Toronto, plus 320 for my first bargain bin special of the night. My second bargain bin special of the night is going to be, we just talked about him in the Buffalo-LA game, plus 550 on Rasmus Dahlin with the goal production we are seeing from him the last few games. Sign me up on that, 100%. Rasmus Dahlin plus 550 to score a goal when he scored goals in 3 straight games and goals in 4 of the last 5 games coming into tonight for the Buffalo Sabres. So 2 bargain bin specials. Actually, Ryan McLeod was a good, worthy candidate too, but I decided to go with Dahlin in that game. So there you have it. 2 bargain bin specials for me tonight. Bobby McMahon, Toronto, plus 320. Rasmus Dahlin, Buffalo, plus 550 for bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like?
We're going with Nashville, Seattle, first period over 1.5. You can get minus $1.10 if you have Circa, minus $1.12 if you have FanDuel, minus $1.11 if you have Betano up north. We're going with that Kraken and Panthers, first period over 1.5. My best bet for Wednesday night.
There you go. Nashville, Seattle, over 1.5 first period. Best bet here for Alex B. Smith for this Wednesday night. My best bet for this Wednesday slate. Let's see here. It's been just cashing in ad nauseum. We're going to go back to the well with it here once again. They've been just great getting to 4 goals. And the great thing is we don't have to worry about what Spencer Martin does if he gets the start. We'll just go straight forward. Carolina team total over 3.5, minus 120. 9 of the last 10 games, we have seen Carolina score at least 4 goals. They just put up 6 on Philadelphia recently. And so, yeah, we don't have to worry about them winning the game. Just score 4 goals. This has been something they have done repeatedly of late. Carolina team total over 3.5. Best bet for me here on this Wednesday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Coming off a great betcast last night. So much fun. And again, thanks to everyone that not only joined us on the stream, but thanks to the people that are in the YouTube chat too throughout the betcast.
Yes.
That just,
Definitely.
made the chat lively and kept the conversation flowing in the chat throughout the course of the night on the betcast. I definitely wanted to make a point of it to thank those people as well. Because obviously it goes without saying, we love and appreciate the people that are on the camera with us on stream, but the people that stick it out for the whole betcast in the chat as well and tune in. We appreciate you guys as well for joining us on the betcast. Lots of fun, and we can't wait for Tuesday, December the 10th, which is already confirmed as our next live betcast, which will be our final live betcast for 2024. So Tuesday, December 10th, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Definitely looking forward to that. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Tuesday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we are back tomorrow on Thursday with Matt Robinson back in the house for another edition of the Ice Guys.